another episode of In the Know, in the Grove. I'm Butch Fenema, your host, and today we're continuing with our episode, our series of introducing all of the newly elected officials for the city of Beech Grove. And today we're going to start the show by introducing Mr. John R. Jennings, the council representative for District 4.
Thank you
Welcome.
very much. Thank you very much.
And I should say that I probably should be a little biased. That's my district as we do that.
Glad to have you.
So, who are you for the people out there? What do you do in your real life?
I'm a woodworker.
Okay.
I build school furniture and church furniture.
Okay.
If you're a Holy Name parishioner, I just put new kneelers all through the church.
Okay.
A lot of Southside Catholic churches we've worked on. Company's been around almost 100 years.
Okay.
That's what we do for fun.
Okay.
Our main line is schools.
Okay.
We're building a Ben Davis University right now, which is our main line is more of a generic, need a lot of cabinets for a big job such as a university. For fun, we do schools or churches and some personal house, some residential.
Do you do small pieces? Because it sounds like most of what you're doing are the big pieces.
The majority of it's mass production.
Okay.
Good, solid frame. Great company, been around almost 100 years, so you can't last 100 years without putting out quality equipment.
Oh, yeah. Quite true.
So most of the schools, most of the public schools, that's not true. Most of the, not IPS, all of the surrounding public schools have William Herman & Son cabinets in it.
Okay. So your organization's been around about as long as the city, since the city celebrated its centennial.
Yes, it has.
As we do that. So, the question that's the tough one, why did you decide to run? Or it's been tough for some of your predecessors.
It's just my nature.
Okay.
I'm a helper. I like to be involved, and it was brought to my attention that I would be good at this.
Okay.
I've never done anything political. Nobody in my family's done anything political. I was told that this was something I needed to get involved in. I investigated. I saw that there was an opening, and I took the opportunity.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can help Beech Grove be the best it can be.
That's great.
I'm going to be here long enough to put 2 kids through college, and my wife and I will stay here forever. She's also in Beech Grove system. She's a school teacher. So if we're going to be here, we're going to do the best we can. Community.
That's a good way to do it. Now, you talked about helping the city, which is what the council does. What have you, since you've been in, learned about the city, learned about the system, learned about how things work, anything? And as you said, you really haven't been in that long, so you haven't had a chance to have anything really big come at you. But anything that might have surprised you, interested you specifically?
A lot of the ins and outs of the city is just incredible. How many people are involved, how many different branches there are with the Board of Public Works, the Redevelopment Committee, the Executive Committee, the Library Committee. I had no idea that there were so many people involved, but since I was never involved, I didn't know.
Right.
But everybody has been wonderful to work with. Some people have been exceptional to work with. A lot of good people are involved.
There are.
And I'm sure I'm just getting my feet wet, and there's going to be some things that'll shock and scare me. But so far, there's been nothing that's jumped out that's really surprised me.
Okay. And in that, you said, as I introduced you, you have District 4, and that's kind of starts on the south side of 465 and moves up to the right. About what's the area of that? It
mainly follows Emerson to Churchman, give or take a few sections there, probably not all the way, probably to Grovewood Place.
Okay.
It collects Emerson, comes down to Churchman, 9th Street, Churchman to Ash, 4th Ash, up to 9th.
A little curve up.
And then to Grovewood, across 9th Grovewood, then Grovewood Place, where Grovewood splits off by the BMV. And then everything inside there is mine. And it jumps across 9th Street for a few apartment complexes and some of the houses along 9th. So it's pretty hit or miss along 9th. But if you're on the west side of 9th, east side of 9th, pretty good chance you're mine. and a few west side houses. Even some houses you can't see are mine.
Okay. And as we were talking earlier, there's not a unifying feature for that. It's not like the downtown that's going through revitalization. It's really the houses.
Yes.
People who simply live in the neighborhood.
Yes.
As we look at that.
And most of the people are very happy with what is going on in their district. Most questions I get are about the greenway that'll follow right along Grovewood.
Okay.
Some of the people want to know about trees being cut down and how much property is going to be, and we'll all know that real soon. I'm really excited about the greenway. That's going to be real nice.
It's going to be nice having it through our area.
Yes, it is.
And past that, then, as you look at anything facing the city, you know, again, anything that interests you more than another issue, if you will. I mean, downtown obviously affects all of us.
Yes.
What specifically for you?
Main Street has such an upside. Main Street has such an upside that everybody, it'll be all of us. All of us use Main Street. The redevelopment is going to be just fantastic. It is so needed that you can no longer put a Band-Aid on it. It's time to do it right, dig it out, put it in correctly. And I think it'll help grow Main Street. Businesses, I think, that are hesitating now will have no problem hesitating, knowing that we're not going to tear it out again for another 50 years.
Yeah.
If you do it right.
Which will then impact, obviously, the whole area. And down, as you say, that Emerson corridor, there will be business development along there that'll continue to feed off of that as we look at that.
Yeah, and that project will go all the way to the library where there'll be a trailhead. And that's exciting how everything's tied together. The Greenway will be tied to the Main Street project, and it'll be a walkable city. It'll be nice.
And that's something that was, Tim and I went out and did interviews for the very first show, and one of the things that a couple people commented on, some were on the show, some weren't, but they liked the fact that it was a walkable community. They liked the fact that you could get around even without all these things being done.
Right.
And this will, in fact, connect our city much more easily as we do that.
The more we know each other, the more we know our neighbors, the happier everybody's going to be. It helps with crime. It helps with keeping our property values up. It helps everything. If we bump into people on the Greenway or on Main Street or on Emerson, the more we know about each other, the better everybody's going to be.
And it does affect everything.
It affects everything.
You said. And we'll be the center of it.
Yes.
As you think about being the representative, obviously you were one of the people out knocking on doors, putting up signs, all those kinds of things. Was there anything else that people talked about? Anything, and I'm kind of looking at if there's anything you want to say to the people of District 4, from something that someone else may have instigated, started, said, or something that strikes you about the area.
A lot of people don't know exactly who to contact when they have a problem.
Okay.
And maybe with the information being out, being more convenient, people will know to let me know. You know, I knocked on a lot of doors and I told everybody, now you will know who I am. Now I'll be easily accessible, and it is our job to do due diligence to solve any problems.
And you are contactable. I always throw this in on the city website. The phone number's there to leave messages, and as we reiterate over and over, you're working somewhere else in your real day job, so leave a message.
Leave a message.
With whatever questions, issues.
Yep, and give me as much information as possible, and I might call you back, and I might end up on your front porch. But it is my job to take care of it. It'd be easier for them to contact me than to show up at a council meeting and...
Want to try to get some time there.
Right, right. So I'm the first line of defense. Call me. If you call anybody else and you don't get satisfactory answer, get a hold of me. Email me, call me, see if I can do anything different.
And that's something that you mentioned that we haven't talked about before. The city council meeting is where the business is done.
Correct.
That's not a good place to bring brand new issues, because by rules of procedure, almost anything that comes up at a meeting is going to go on an agenda at a future meeting anyway.
Correct.
And you're not going to be knowledgeable about if somebody comes in and says, I want to discuss this.
Right.
That's the time for the council to work.
Right. If they show up at a meeting and if they're in my district, I'll be glad to talk to them after the meeting. It's business at the meeting.
You'll be busy getting ready for it.
Yes.
But now, that isn't to say for anybody out there, don't come to the meetings. Please come to the meetings.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, love
to have you.
I've been to a few, and it's a fairly empty hall way too often. So come to the meetings, but come expecting to see what the whole council does.
Correct.
Representing the city. Anything else as we get down to end of time that you'd like to say to folks in your district? Just kind of give you the open mic and say what
I think I've touched on most of my parts. I'm very easy to get a hold of. There's the non-emergency number, 782-4949. You can contact me through there. It might take you a few minutes talking to a recording. Better, Brighter, Beech Grove. You can track me down through there. I'm easily excited. I can jump on top of things if you need me to. There's a lot of people that are wanting to help you if you have a problem.
Great.
Just getting a hold of the right people. So.
And I think from doing the show, I'd have to say we've got some good people.
Have some great people.
A lot of them.
Great people.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, I'm rolling.
For the second part of our show today, we have Bill Sensibo. Welcome to the show,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
And you represent District 5.
That's correct.
Great. And just starting with the same format we've done with everybody else, tell the folks a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you're interested in, hobbies, whatever you'd like to talk about.
All right. Well, again, my name is Bill Sensibo, and I am the representative from District 5. I'm a police officer. I've been a police officer for 21 years.
And you started here in Beech Grove?
Yeah, I started in Beech Grove back in 1986. I was hired as a dispatcher. I did that briefly and then was put on the road. I went to the police academy in 1987. I left Beech Grove in 1998 on good terms. I wanted to go to the sheriff's department because I had a dream of being a motorcycle officer.
Okay.
And I went to the sheriff's department, and then in 2001, I got my dream and was asked to try out for the bikes, motorcycles, and that was the most intense training I've ever had.
I would imagine.
I crashed a few times. I got the scars to prove it. But I made it, and I've been a traffic officer since 2001, and now the Sheriff's Department and the City Police. We're the Metropolitan Police Department. So I've just started my 21st year.
Wow.
Which is hard to believe. Time goes by quick.
That does. Yeah, it does. We could probably do we talked about doing a couple of shows. We could probably do a whole show on just the motorcycle part of that. I don't trust other people, so you're braver than I am in that.
It's been some close calls.
I would imagine. What else would you tell the folks about you? Anything in terms of hobbies or anything? And
well,
I got to keep a list. We have one, the city council people that makes candy. I got to come visit him regularly.
I have a daughter and a son, and I've coached my daughter throughout her whole career in softball. My son is a 7th grader, going to be an 8th grader, and he's playing basketball, but I've coached him up until last year in basketball.
Okay.
But I keep busy with the sports. And I used to coach at the high school. I used to be the varsity boys soccer coach.
Okay.
Did that for 5 years, and that was very time-consuming. And with the police department and trying to juggle both things, I decided it was time to retire, and that was a lot of fun. I miss it. I miss the boys. I miss coaching the kids. It's just I love working with kids, and we had a lot of fun. It's been fun. And I truly do miss it. But now this is a whole new experience.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Get to work with a different bunch of kids now.
Yes, older kids.
Many of them you coached are probably already getting to almost be adults.
Well, it is because with Lindsay, I started she was probably 5 years old, and Lindsay's 18 now, so I see all these young adults, and it's amazing. Now they can vote for me.
Have your own constituency.
Yes.
So speaking of voting for you, you were one of those people, we always ask the question, what motivated you to run? Because it's not particularly a job that we thank people a lot for, and it's a lot of work on top of all the things you already do. So what motivated you?
Well, I think it started back when I was a policeman here. I moved here from New York, from a small town in New York, and I'm not originally from Beech Grove. Fell in love with Beech Grove. That's why I applied here and made it home. I like the small town atmosphere. And I've always been interested in trying to keep things nice and flowing here in Beech Grove. And I thought, now that I'm out of the police department, I can run for city council and see if I can keep things going the way they're going. I think Beech Grove's going in a positive direction, and I felt that maybe I can give back to the community since I can't be a policeman here.
Okay.
And that's basically how it got started.
Okay. And you've got an interesting story.
Yeah, there's an interesting story behind that.
And local governance is full of interesting stories.
Yes, I was a Democrat, registered Democrat, and I wanted to run for city council, and I wanted to, I thought I was ready for it. And I went to them and talked to them about doing that, and they thought that wouldn't be a good idea because my wife is employed by the city working for the current administration.
Sure.
So I understood that and wasn't bitter. And then the Republican candidate in District 5 had to back out because she had a conflict of interest. And they asked me if I would be interested in running in District 5. And I said, well, sure. So I had to change parties. I went down to the headquarters downtown and talked to the Republican head of the committees down there, and they asked me why, and a lot of questions, and I guess I satisfied them, and I ran, and here I am. I won, amazingly. So it was a short span, but the campaigning was it was time consuming, and I have 1,000 people to thank, especially my wife. But we went door to door and got the message out, and the night prior to the election, we typed up a handwritten letter, and I put it on all the doors in the Perry Township side of my district, telling them who I am and why I was running, and I think that had a lot to do with me winning.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't really know me other than being a policeman, and I'm just glad the word got out, and I'm glad I won, and I hope I can keep things rolling.
Now, talking about your area, District 5, you've got a pretty good-sized area physically, geographically, and it's split on both sides of 465. How kind of would you describe that area that you represent?
Well, I have all of Franklin Township. And then the Perry Township side is from Thompson Road north to Grovewood, and then from Thompson to Emerson.
Okay.
So I have a lot of residents down in that area. And that's where we did most of the door-to-door campaigning. Yeah.
And you've got also the area just north of 465 that's really business area.
Business areas, yes.
Industrial park.
Yeah.
I should do that. So you've got a mix of that.
Yes.
Now, back to that District 5 issues. Some of the groups have specific issues, and again, it's the people that elect you, so you don't do a lot of campaigning in the industrial area.
Right.
But what are the kinds of things that, and you said people didn't say a whole lot about what they wanted, that needed.
I think the people in District 5, they wanted some small things, like some of the streets need to be paved. We'll look into that. I would like to get a sidewalk put in on the Churchman side from the Churchman Hill Plaza down to my addition, which is the Woods of Beech Grove. And we have the apartment complex over by the street department, and there's a lot of kids walking up and through there, and the high school has their rear entrance there. And my goal is to get a sidewalk there. I know it's going to be expensive. And then a lot of things, people were happy with the way the administration was running things. And that's why I wanted to get involved too. I'm very happy with the way Beech Grove's going. Emerson Avenue project, it's just beautiful. And I just like to see the direction the city's going. I think it's going in a positive direction. And my goal is to keep things going that way. And hopefully get things done in District 5 that need to be done.
Well, interesting you had mentioned that, talking about sidewalks, you're making more connections.
Yes, that's true.
You're connecting parts of the city.
Yes.
And in fact, first part talking with John, talking about getting the walkway done.
Yes. Yeah.
The park that we're doing. I'm familiar with the term linear park. That's always thought that was an interesting term. But getting those connections and getting the parts of the city connected as we look at that.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's just so grateful to see things growing. Because I think Beech Grove was just stopped for a while, then the current administration got things rolling, and it's just, again, you look at the pictures behind you of Emerson Avenue, and I'm excited for 2010 for Main Street to get done.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get some businesses in here. And my goal also is I'm looking into something. I would love to get some restaurants, either on the Franklin Township side or in Beech Grove side, but we need more restaurants, I think, along Emerson Avenue and Beech Grove.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that done.
You need any help with that? I'm really happy to help bring restaurants.
I'd like to see a Dunkin' Donuts come over.
I would be happy with that. Yes, good coffee.
But there's some needs, and I'm looking into talking to some people. Hopefully, get them looking into the area at least, and then go from there. But it's just exciting. It's just nice to see Beech Grove growing in a positive direction.
Yeah. As you look at your district, as you look at the city, as you look at representing this group, is there anything that's been a surprise? Now, I know you haven't been in office all that long, and I know that, and again, we've talked about it, that council members are looking at going at different meetings, and we've had some people go to Park Board, Library Board, some of the others. Is there anything that's been a surprise or something that's interesting that people watching really wouldn't think about that a council member does, is responsible for?
It's amazing how time-consuming it is. I didn't realize, and I'm not complaining. I enjoy it. I mean, I've learned a lot of things, and I've learned, local government a lot better. And I'm making friends along the way too. I was on the Parks Board prior to running for City Council, so I was there for probably just about 4 months, and then had to resign because I was running.
Same thing Ross Barton had to do from the Library Board.
So I had a little piece of that. But that wasn't as time-consuming as everything else is. And I've been to the redevelopment committee meetings, and that's my goal also, is I want to try to get involved with the community. I want the people to recognize the city council members. I want them to be able to call me in District 5 and say, hey, this is what we need, this is what we want. If they have any concerns, to call me. There's no need to go to a city council meeting and bring them up. If we can't resolve it, we'll take to the administrative people and see if they can get that done. But I want communication. There's telephone numbers for them to call us. They can get online. And this is what I want. I want the people to get involved too. And I'm so big on the positive growth in Beech Grove, and this is what I want. And this is what we're here for. We're here for the people, and they should see us out in public. I'm going to try to go as many meetings as I can. I attend sporting events over at the high school and the Little League and the softball, and we're out there. If people see me, stop and say hello. I might not know them, but it'd be nice. Some people do come up and say, hey, aren't you District 5? Yes, I am. And shake their hand and say, thank you, and get some feedback from people. But I hope people will communicate with us, and if there's something we can do, don't hesitate to call.
Okay. Anything else as you think about the job, as you think about what you've gotten into, that anything else you'd say to the people, as your constituents or anybody in the city of Beech Grove? In one sense, the council does represent us all.
Yes.
Even though you have a specific area you're responsible for. Is there anything else you'd say to the folks, or?
No, I think I pretty much said it. I'm for positives. I've heard some negatives in the past, and this doesn't work. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to get along, and I just want Beech Grove to go in a positive direction. I think it's going that way now, and I hope that can continue as long as I'm living in Beech Grove, and I'm sure my kids are going to stick around for many years. And I'm excited. There's some things in the works, and hopefully they'll come through, and I just hope it continues to grow. And even though we're landlocked, there's some opportunities here and there, and I just hope it continues to grow in a positive direction. And the only thing I can point to is Emerson Avenue. Being a policeman here for so many years, and driving up and down that street and going up and down there now, I go out of my way to go home that way because it's beautiful. Yeah. And it's just people that don't live in Beech Grove that know that I used to be a policeman here that I work with now, they comment on it, hey, when did that happen? And they say it's nice. Good. So to hear other people that don't live in Beech Grove saying, hey, Beech Grove is stepping up a little bit. And I'm excited for Main Street. I can't wait for that to get done. And it's going to be neat. And you'll be one of the people helping us get there. Yes. Thanks very much for coming on. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. We get to the end of another show, and I'd like to take a couple minutes before we finish. We got a couple minutes we can use. This is going to be the next to the last show in terms of introducing all of our newly elected officials. We have a number of them. We've had a long sequence of shows. We've got one more that we need to wrap up that group of newly elected officials. But I wanted to take a few minutes to kind of pull all this together and talk about some of the important things that they've talked about. But one of the things, first off, is I think we get a good sense through this sequence of shows. These are our neighbors. These are the people that live next door, live in the areas, the districts we live. These are the people, and as you've noticed through the shows, if you watch them all, if you haven't, please go back and watch them. But you notice through the shows that these are people who've coached Little League, a variety of sports, a variety of activities. They've been the scout leaders. They've done the kinds of things that, in fact, as they say with the council, we want to use to have our community grow. That's important to note. They've been on some of the boards, the library board, the park board. In fact, two of them had to leave those positions that they had gotten onto, assuming they'd be there, and decided to run. But these are the people
who again have been there and done the kinds of things that many of you are out in the community doing that make the community what it is, that make the city successful. Several of them have mentioned, come up and say hello to them. And you should. You know, these are the people, say hi to them. Let them know that the community is there and we want to support them. We've hired them to be our elected officials. I like the word hired. We decided they should be the ones to do the job for us. We need to tell them what the job is. But I do want to emphasize that point that you don't want to come up in the middle of a soccer game while someone's trying to watch and say, well, council member, let me tell you about something I think is important. You know, be respectful of that because, again, much the same as all of us, we go to a game to watch the game. But they do want to hear from us, and they do need to hear from us, and that theme has come up over and over with everybody we've interviewed so far. It's important to make sure they know what we want them to represent, what's important to us. Just in the show today, Councilman Sinsabo made a comment about wanting to put sidewalks, and that costs money. We have to tell them what we're willing to spend to make those connections in the city, to have those sidewalks. And I'll go way back to the first show. Somebody said, I love the walkability of the city. And we already have a walkable city. But what do we need to do for more safety? Again, kids walking on the street is never particularly a good idea. The next show we're going to, as I say, finish with the last of our elected officials. And as we bring this together, it's time to say, okay, we've done this piece, we've done this part, what's next? What do you want Tim and I to do? What are the kinds of things you want to know about? What are the topics that you think may in fact help our council members do a better job? What are the things we need to explore? One of the first things that we said in the beginning of this show is we're here to do two things. One is to inform you, and two is to challenge you. Well, what do you need to be informed about? What are the issues that you're interested in? We won't be able to do a show on everything and spend an entire show, but what are the things that need some research that maybe we can do that you can't or don't have the time to? What we need to know is what are the things that are important to you. We don't do the show for us, we do it for you. So Tim will put up on here the email address and the telephone number. Contact us and let us know. Contact us and let us know what's important to you. Tell us what you want to know. That way we can fulfill our mission on the show of making sure that you stay in the know, in the Grove. Thanks for watching.